In the eerie twilight of a desolate landscape, a lone wanderer trudged through the overgrown remnants of a once great city. The crumbling ruins rose like jagged teeth from the earth, casting long shadows that danced in the fading light. With weary steps, he sought shelter amidst the ancient stones, his pack heavy with provisions and his heart heavy with longing. Setting his camp in the shadow of a crumbling tower, the wanderer kindled a feeble fire and unfurled a worn parchment. With quill in hand, he dipped it in ink, the words flowing forth in a melancholy rhythm. "My dearest wife," he began, the pen scratching softly against the paper. "As the stars adorn the night sky, so does my heart ache for your presence." Yet, as the ink dried and the letters took shape, a chill wind whispered through the ruins, carrying with it the ghostly echoes of forgotten whispers. The wanderer paused, his hand faltering as the hairs on his neck stood on end. He glanced around, eyes wide with trepidation, but the darkness held only shadows and secrets. Resolute, he returned to his task, the fire casting flickering light upon his anxious face. "Though the road is long and perilous," he continued, his voice barely above a whisper, "know that my love for you burns brighter than the fiercest flame." But as the ink flowed and the words spilled forth, a cacophony of haunting sounds echoed through the ruins. Moans and groans, whispers and wails, as if the very stones themselves were alive with sorrow. The wanderer's heart quickened, fear coiling like a serpent in his chest, as he realized he was not alone in the darkness. Humanoid figures emerging from the depths of the ruins. His breath caught in his throat as he beheld the ominous sight, the figures moving with an unnatural grace, their forms obscured by the cloak of darkness. They appeared to be wielding crude weapons, their silhouettes outlined against the faint glow of the moon. The wanderer thought to see long, naked, fleshy tails twitching out of their bodies. Fear gripped the wanderer's soul as he realized the true nature of the creatures before him. Humanoid rats, a grotesque army traversing the ruins with purposeful intent. With trembling hands, he extinguished his fire with desperate haste, plunging himself into the safety of darkness as he prayed to remain unseen. Crouching low behind a crumbling wall, the wanderer pressed himself against the cold stone, his heart hammering in his chest as the horde of humanoid rats drew nearer. Their guttural, rat-like noises filled the air, sending shivers down his spine as he dared not even breathe lest he draw their attention. As the lone wanderer knelt in fervent prayer, his heart pounding with dread, a sudden blast of trumpets pierced the air, echoing across the desolate landscape like a clarion call of salvation. Hope surged within him as he scanned the horizon, his eyes alight with anticipation, believing rescue was at hand. Without hesitation, he cast aside his fear and emerged from his hiding place, his tattered cloak billowing behind him as he dashed towards the distant hill where the sound emanated. With each step, he fervently prayed for deliverance, his heart pounding in time with the rhythmic beat of his footfalls. But as he drew closer, his hopes were dashed upon the cruel rocks of reality. For atop the hill, silhouetted against the moonlit sky, were not the gallant knights of a noble lord, but twisted, grotesque figures that moved with an unnatural, jerking gait. Their skin glistened like polished stone in the pale moonlight, and their mouths dripped with bloodied fangs that gleamed with malevolent hunger. Horror seized the lone wanderer's soul as he realized the true nature of the approaching army. An undead legion of ghouls, their eyes blazing with unholy fire as they descended upon the ruined city with relentless purpose. With a primal scream of terror, the wanderer stumbled backward, his mind unable to comprehend the nightmare unfolding before him. The largest of the ghouls, a monstrous figure wielding a rusted sword, let out a chilling howl that reverberated through the night air, signaling the charge of the unholy horde. Frozen in place by fear and disbelief, the lone wanderer watched in horrified silence as the army of ghouls clashed with the filthy rat-like creatures that infested the ruins. A symphony of screams and snarls filled the air as blood and fur flew in equal measure, the battleground illuminated by the eerie glow of moonlight and flickering fire. Unable to tear his gaze away from the gruesome spectacle, the lone wanderer sank to his knees, his heart heavy with despair. For in that moment he realized that he was but a pawn in a twisted game played out upon the stage of the cursed city, a witness to the unfathomable horrors that lurked within its crumbling walls, and a victim of fate's cruel whims. And as the night descended into madness, he could only pray for the mercy of oblivion to release him from the nightmare that had become his reality.